Okay. I don't know why I'm making this video. Um, this is basically take two because I'll fucking drone on forever, and I ran off and discovered a lot about this product. Um, so hopefully this will be the short version for people that are impatient or have better shit to watch. Um, anyway, I bought this Parrot drone. Uh, it's the Mambo. Um, I have a previous history with Parrot. I was probably one of the first people in the States to get their original AR drone. I ordered that thing from Hong Kong. I remember it had a flaky processor connection. Actually, I could push on the processor and it would boot, and when I didn't push on the processor, it wouldn't boot. So like Parrot was like, fuck you, you didn't buy that in the States. It was before they actually released it here. Wouldn't offer me any fucking support. So I actually reflowed that chip. Um, just gave it a good heat with the heat gun. In fact, I had to buy a fucking heat gun. I don't I don't I don't remember if I had a rework station or if that's when I bought my rework station or if I literally just used a Craftsman heat gun. But I did get that thing repaired on my own. No thanks to those dicks. Um, and then, well, the reason I wanted that drone is because they also had a Linux SDK. And the thing was running Linux, and you could pretty much telnet into it, and it ran BusyBox, and it was, an IP device. So it ran an access point, and you could actually log into the thing. So fun toy to hack with, as well as the SDKs that they offered. So my next experience with Parrot as a company was buying their piece of fucking shit Sumo. Um, I yeah, and I know I'm already not talking about this fucking quad, but let's just get this out of the way. This fucking piece of shit. The very first time I tried to hop, it basically managed to dry fire. So what that means is the hopper pushed out and didn't hit anything, and it broke immediately an internal ring, a piece of shit plastic ring that's in there. That's part of the device that basically recocks this thing. Uh, so this was like a, I don't know, $200 thing, and it literally broke the first time I used it. Um, in my previous attempt at making this video, I had recalled that Parrot again told me to fuck off, but actually that's not true. They did ship me a new part, and I believe they offered an exchange also, but I was like, no, please just ship me the fucking improved part, which it wasn't improved, so it's just gonna break again. So in a box, this went. Uh, what a piece of shit product. Um, the other thing about Parrot is they just they have their product people all over their fucking website, and they don't really give you a lot of information. So I just wanted to sum up why I bought this, uh, what I plan on doing with it, and then maybe talk a little bit about the alternatives out there, and why actually I think this is a good deal. And I say it's a good deal right now because on Amazon, this can be had for uh, I think it was $54. Yeah. So refurb on Amazon right now, $54. Um, that is an extremely good deal in my opinion, because what you're going to get is this little dude, which basically it the benefit of this is you get this what the fuck are these called? A transducer, which will measure distance, coupled with this little camera, which is actually doing optical flow. It's a lot like the shit that's in your mouse, where you're basically just reading basic image data and latching on to features in the image, and that way you can tell if the copter's moved at all, and then the copter can correct. So think of it as like just a localized image system that you use for stabilization. So what that means is with no stick input, this will hover pretty darn stable, which makes it really easy to fly. And that right there is some tech that's a good deal. The other reason that I bought this is because Parrot is still using their SDK, and what that means is they actually use their SDK for their apps. So it's not like an afterthought SDK. It's actually what they use to communicate to this thing in order to fly it. So what that means to an end user is, like with my Parrot AR drone, I don't want to fly things with the cell phone, and in fact, I don't typically install apps that I can't either get my hands on the source code for, or that don't have reasonable permissions. Google doesn't seem to give a shit about permissions. And then on top of that, a lot of apps get around, getting information by making you sign up for third-party accounts and all that shit. So anyway, the tinfoil hat on my head, I hate Google. I hate that environment. I hate installing apps. So cell phones just weren't meant to fly quads. You don't want to have to deal with an entire OS just to fly your damn quadricopter. You want tools that do the job. So this is one tool. The other tool is this. So unlike the Tello, which I do not have, but the Tello might seem like a better buy for $100, with a camera. From what I've read, I suspect it's not. There were a few good ones on Amazon. I think the most notable thing that I kind of thought was funny. Amazon's full of so many fucking reviews. This is for the Tello, and I tend to just get what this guy's saying. And the crux of it is, yeah, I mean, he gave it 3 stars because it flies well and whatever. But then he tried using Scratch, which is their programming platform, and I don't know if they bolted that on after the fact, or what the fuck happened, but it sounds to me like, first of all, the instructions suck. He got it to take off and land and do stuff, but you can't just run commands one after another. He said, I think it was this guy. Fuck, maybe it's in the same thing. Yeah, at least a 1 second pause between actions. I don't know. I mean, dude, like, it should be. You should be able to. You should be able to program and interact with the zone at least with the uh drone at least as good as like giving it stick input. I mean, um, whatever, man. Anyway, so the SDK grew up for Parrot's use. So kudos to them. They drink their own lemonade. Um, what else? So this has never been hooked up to any kind of phone. It's not required. There's a Bluetooth link between the drone and this controller. Um, as I said, on Amazon, this is $54 right now. That's a screaming deal. The controller is $37, and the controller is super nice. It's really good feeling, and right out of the box, you turn the drone on, you hit pair on the controller, and it does Bluetooth magic. Okay, so you're good to go. And then the the basic controls are really simple. There's a takeoff and land button, flip left, flip right, flip forward, flip backwards. Um, this button I think works the accessory, which could be the pinchers or the little cannon. Um, this button makes the drone turn 180 degrees. That is probably working, off of the vision system and the gyroscopes. So somewhat accurate. If you're flying away, you just fly away. You hit this button, and then it's going to turn around and face you, and you can fly towards you. Releasing the sticks under most scenarios, the drone will just immediately come to a stop, and it'll even backtrack and pinpoint the position from when you release the sticks. So it's pretty aggressive about stopping, which is good, So it's a great little indoor toy. I haven't flown it outside. In fact, I've only flown it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah. So yeah, don't need an app. For me, my plan is to fly this thing. I want to fly from keyboard. So I originally that's why I'm redoing this video. So originally I considered $37. I didn't see this refurbished camera with drone with camera. But $129, you basically get the controller, you get this piece of shit cardboard thing that you can just throw away. You get the camera and the drone. And basically how this all works is the camera itself it's somewhat self-contained. It has at least at least from pouring through the FCC data, the camera actually has Wi-Fi on board, so they are likely streaming the camera back to your phone separately using Wi-Fi, but then the Bluetooth is still controlling the bird. I don't know. If either of these pins are transmitting data so that either the camera or Bluetooth can relay info back and forth, or whatever. I'm assuming when the camera is attached and you hit this button, or excuse me, you hit this button, it'll take a picture with the camera, whereas like without the camera, it actually takes a picture with this bottom little camera, which is just a really shitty little camera. But it is kind of fun that it just drops a photo every time you hit that button. So I imagine that'll change a little bit when you have the big camera on top. So I figured I would use the SDK fly this thing, you know, from my keyboard and mess around with that. And then I figured if I wanted a camera, I would just power it off of here or wherever, and I would uh, probably transmit just normal NTSC video back to my computer. The other thing that I wanted to do is, you know, I've got these little magnetic connectors, which I did a bunch of testing on a bunch of different kinds of magnetic connectors, and this is like a long time ago. And these guys, this is my camera. No, hang on. Shit. Give me a second. One sec. So, these guys, Basu. Aw. There we go. Those guys. These, for me, of all the things that I tested, what I was mostly interested in here is power. How much power would flow through this connector on average, and this company built the best system for these little mag dudes. You can see it's on there pretty good. You know, so yeah, this is what I have standardized on, like, you know, headphones and different devices. And for this guy, I plan on making him a little landing pad with something that will, you know, be able to pull away the connector. At which time, if this dude is off, he will power on. Like if he's been sitting on the charger and powers off, as soon as you disconnect it, it'll power on. At that point, it's ready to pair for Bluetooth. So kind of the plan is, if you can land back and reconnect this connector, then this should always be in a ready to fly state for the most part, which could be a lot of fun because you could rove around. Yeah, so that's kind of my plan. The Tello, aside from that one review who pointed out kind of that the Scratch interface was really, it just sounds like they don't have a good SDK. The Scratch, I think it's like an MIT thing for, you know, kids, where you can make blocks for programs, and it teaches kids how to program, and that's super cool. But it kind of sounds like it might be an afterthought, and underneath the hood, there's not really a good SDK being used. I mean, who the fuck knows how they communicate back to that thing? Whereas Parrot, I'm not sure. Just digging through their code a little bit. Again, I think like they're using Mavlink, and I don't know that like other quadricopter shit uses that. A lot of the open source projects use that. I don't know if that originated from Parrot, or, you know, if they're just using it because it's out there. But that's, you know, that's where a lot of your what would you call it, telemetry and shit would get sent back using the Mavlink protocol. So yeah, so, and then if you're flying with a camera, like I said, the camera is going to have its own Wi-Fi, so that's not going to interrupt the connection between this controller and the drone. You know, there's like this chain remains the same. And so there's no additional latency. There's no requirement for you to have an app in the middle. And in fact, the app is kind of the afterthought in a way. You know, the app can control the Parrot directly also, because your phone has Bluetooth. Um, but the camera system is using wireless. So I kind of like that they're decoupled. They each have their own jobs. They're each developed separately. So I think that makes this design more robust than the Tello, in my opinion. One of the other things about the Tello that actually I really liked is it has the addition of some infrared LEDs right here. And in low light, like if you're flying this in the dark or outside or whatever, the Parrot probably isn't going to do nearly as good a job being able to remain stable under these dark conditions. And having infrared lights on there, I don't know if this camera is very infrared friendly. That's something we could actually test though. But what was my fucking point? Oh, well, nothing's really stopping you from just powering some infrared LEDs on here and adding your own infrared lights, right? So that's some of the fun too. I mean, you could easily just, you know, make or get one of these blocks and, you know, snip this off and run some LEDs instead. These little accessories, I find it very difficult to attach them. It's a very delicate process, and yet this requires a fair amount of force. And in fact, when I was fucking around with the little Canon, I actually had like, I don't know, like a 10-minute troubleshooting process because the Canon wasn't fucking working, and it turns out it just had a flaky connection through this connector. And you have to apply quite a lot of fucking force to get this solid. And yeah, so that's kind of lame. I think that's kind of lame. So we should be able to turn this dude on. Okay, yeah. So he's coming on. He's booting when he blinks, and he's all done booting once he's done blinking, I think. Maybe he's waiting for a connection. So you just tap this guy, power it on. You can also hold the button to pair. You tap the button again. Well, what the fuck over? There it goes. So it's paired now. You can operate the little gun. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think this little dude is pretty stable. I'm right here in front of my, you know, semi-precious monitor and you know, all my junk, and I pretty much trust it enough that I'll take off. And it's just up there hovering. I know you can't see it. It's loud as fuck. So let's see. See if I got a different angle here. Nope, you can't see it. The one thing that this doesn't do well, so yeah, and my house is a mess. This is how the other half lives. So when you take off, it goes up to a height, and that height is about 1 meter. As soon as you approach below that height, it'll get into an oscillation and have trouble with the stabilization. So if I go down lower, see how it's eventually just gonna wreck. It totally fucking wrecked. So yeah, just don't fly it below 3 feet, and you know, it's totally fine. It's totally stable, and if you have good lighting, then I think it'll even be super reliable. Let's see. What else did I want to drone on about? Oh, well, I doubt anyone will care. It was thoughtful of Parrot. Well, some of their marketing shit lies. Like, I got a 550 milliamp hour battery. So I got a 550 milliamp hour battery. Their marketing foo, which is just fucking pure wank, doesn't tell you a lot about this whole camera and drone business, but they say it comes with a 600 milliamp hour battery. Mine didn't. That's pretty fucking lame, but it is the exact same battery that they've been using, like, in their piece of shit this thing. So I actually already had a battery, and yeah, they're the same. So that's cool. I do think I get about 8 minutes of flight time or whatever. I haven't measured it. It's, plenty of flight for me. These little accessories, it's just a simple worm gear, and it's kind of interesting. Like, they must sense current, and probably both of them function off of current. So there's only 2 wires, right? There's wires going to the motor. So it's just a really simple system with a really shitty connection, and they've got 4 pin. Ooh, that was scary. That was like a bug eating me. They've got 4 pins. I don't know what all the pins are for. But like this guy, you can work the accessory like that just by hitting the button. I'm sure, you could run it with the SDK and all that shit. Just, I'm a dumbass. So you can actually put the pinchers on the bottom here. So that's a little more useful, and there isn't current sensing. It's just stalling out the motor. So yeah, you can kind of tell by the red light there. It's just stalling the motor, but still, that's fine. It's a little robust system. Maybe you can fly up and attach to something. maybe you can make like a landing stick and just attach to it. land like that. Oh, it can't release. Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. One of the other observations, real quick, is I had trouble with some of the pairing, and I think actually we read that in the release notes, or or that was my other video. I don't know if I can remember, but the drone will blink to pair it, you need to let it sit, and then it's not going to pair until it's in flight mode. So it's already paired. You can't. It's hard to tell because the battery's dead. So we'll just turn this on, and rather than it blinking, I think we're already paired. Yeah. So just if you're having trouble pairing, quit fucking with your drone. Another observation that I forgot to mention, I think, is this means the drone is about dead. You also get a vibration from here. And of course, the drone's eventually just going to land itself. But there is, two-way communication over the Bluetooth stack, and you're getting some usable telemetry here. When the drone is dying. So there were a couple other things in the release notes about them fixing some reconnect upon disconnect issues, which actually I tend to believe now that I'm seeing this guy reconnect. So if you look at the green that you can probably barely see there, and I turn off the controller. So right now the drone is searching for a connection. As soon as I turn on the controller, that's how quickly we're reconnected. So burp burp burp. And it can carry a fair amount of weight. Like it could probably carry this pen. Yeah, Okay, so the camera, man, their marketing shit wouldn't describe anything about what this camera is. I suspected it had Wi-Fi because I didn't know even the newer Bluetooth. Like this is Bluetooth 4.0 BLE, which is the low energy Bluetooth, but you're not likely going to carry video over that. And of course, if you're carrying video over that, well, then it's going to either add additional latency to your controls and or something has to give, right? So after a bunch of fucking digging, in the SDK, I found that the actual name of the of this drone is the Delos 3, and I just found that because I was looking. I was curious how the SDK was going to connect because everything I've ever used, which is only for the original AR drone, it was all IP based, right? And so my first instinct was, okay, in the SDK, they must explain how to connect to this thing, which I'm assuming is Bluetooth, and they must have some video bullshit in there too, because the AR drone, it wasn't a problem to bring video back to my laptop and all that stuff. There was like a if donkey in the code for the Delos 3. So just in the notes there, I found out, okay, that's this little Mambo. So pretty much you can go to the FCC, you can find all of their stuff, and yep, yeah. So here's some internal pics. Here you've got the antenna, which is a wire. So even though this Bluetooth, you've got a decent little wire. I can't tell if that's soldered or if that's a connector, or if it's even screwed in. I don't know, whatever. But basically, this is an ARM9 800 megahertz. This is the entire flight board right here. This is very modular, very simple, and I tend to believe, based on that little picture, the stated The stated range with this controller is 100 meters, which is 300 feet. Over Bluetooth, that seems maybe not, you know, like with a cell phone, you wouldn't expect to get 300 feet. But if they've really got, a nice little internal antenna on this and a nice little internal antenna on this, then I start to believe that you'll actually get that range. So right there, this combination for $54 and $37 is a super good, enjoyable combination for just, if you just like to fly drones or you want to let your kid fly a drone. It's, if you get in trouble, just let go of the sticks, and this thing's pretty much gonna stop. Safe for indoor flight and all that stuff. So we've got these LEDs. I also thought maybe I could just bend these down and replace them with infrared. If I were to pair it, I would probably release a infrared Lego block for night flying, for better optical flow stability and all that shit. If the camera doesn't have an IR filter on it. That's the accessory board. Yeah, and then so then I found the camera as well, and you can see right here it's got an antenna. I don't know what chip it's got in it. I don't really care at this point, but the main thing that I was trying to figure out is, how does this camera work? So it is somewhat self-contained. It's got an SD card, so it records its own video. So there's probably like H.264 encoder, whether that is in the camera module or if it's a separate chip. I don't really know. I don't know what a SunX chip is. I don't really know what's going on with this thing, but yeah. So there's the antenna, and then I think they actually did derp. I don't know. I read some shit about the FCC testing, where they actually did all the testing, and fuck, where did that go? Thought I had the, oh, well, here's the range. Oh, the power output. This is way more output than what the drone itself does with Bluetooth. Way more. And then they've got some other additional shit in here that basically I just confirmed it has wireless. So the other question is, at a future cost of like $39 for the camera. Right now you can only buy it with the drone. But that little camera on its own might be pretty useful, because it's a shitty little camera with Wi-Fi and recording. So, when I had the Parrot AR drone, that thing was controlled over Wi-Fi. It didn't do any Bluetooth. And, some of the weird shit that you could do is like, you could pair the drone in client mode and put it on your network, and then attach to that and fly it, with whatever method of flight that you wanted. So in essence, you could extend the range of the drone by letting it fly on the network. Shit like that. That was really interesting. This camera, I don't know. I'd kind of like to get one just because, can you just put it on the network? Is it a good little network camera? Does it speak using the same SDK on its own, or is there some sort of control, like command and control through one of the pins of this Lego block system? Does it just act like a dumb accessory and act like a dumb access point and nothing more, and the phone just attaches to like an RTSP stream and bam, you got video? and all other telemetry and everything else are over Bluetooth. Like, I don't know. So I kind of wish I had ordered the great deal that is on Amazon right now with the refurb deal. And you know, I may still pick one of these up. But yeah, refurb for $129, you get the Wi-Fi camera and the drone, and the decent controller. So I mean, that's a pretty good deal too for the amount of tech that you're getting. You're getting a really mature SDK, and if you like to hack on shit, there's a lot to be had. I guess other observations, you know, this from a sort of a Linuxy point of view, I guess. But I did plug this thing up to my computer, and it does offer a file system that is mountable, and underneath that is a Mambo directory, and underneath that are stored images and things. So you can take snapshots even with this little shitty camera using the remote, or I'm sure the app, and you just plug this thing up to your computer and you can actually get to those images. If you have a software update, which I don't need, I was able to dig through random ass files on there, and I could see that I'm running the latest software. But if I did need to update, you just plop the update on the drone in the root directory, and then reboot it. So, you know, again, like, you don't really need, you know, magic or to give blood in order to get the update done. So I don't know. I'm pretty fond of this little thing so far, and I really haven't done much. I stumbled quite a bit looking at the SDK. You know, I use GitHub, I mean, a fair amount, but they had some weird, they used repo to download all the repos. So I didn't know that repo was even a thing, but meh. Nah, can't spell. Yup. Yeah, so repository management tool built on top of Git. Derp. So I thought maybe it was a Mac thing or whatever. But yeah, let's real quick run through how do you download the SDK and build. And we probably won't get much further than that because all the samples that they appear to have are based on at least what for me was a better known path, all IP based, whereas I don't know, for the little Mambo needs Bluetooth connectivity. So it's kind of thing where, like, I'm probably too stupid to figure it out on my own. I might need to find examples on how to actually connect to the thing, but maybe not. Maybe getting to know the repos will expose something. So let's go on a quick tour of GitHub and a quick maybe look at their instructions after I find them, and we'll just run through, do a build, and then I think I'm done ranting on this little product. I think I'm not as mad at Parrot anymore for being a parrot. But they are a confused company, and I hate their marketing. How's that? All right, I'll be right back. Yeah. So pretty much you can go to developer.parrot.com, and then they have a button to start coding. They've also got some of their higher end shit. Um, some of this stuff interests me a bit. Um, the Bebop, I was never interested in. Although a friend has one, and I was amazed at some of the shit he's done. But like, what is it? I mean, they've got this weird slam system with an SDK. Uh, I mean, this is an interesting. This is an interesting, very expensive looking piece of equipment. Um, I I don't really know what this is. Point-to-point IP or HTTP API. Some sort of weird fucking camera. Like I don't know what this is. And then they've got like they've got Parrot. They've got weird shit like they've got Bluetooth like headphones and things. I don't know what the fuck this is. Jesus Christ. Okay, that's actually that's cheap, man. All right. But can you feel the marketing? I mean, can you feel how hard they are wanking off uh okay. So under drones, the Mambo, you can buy all the parts except for the camera. Um they do have an extensive list of parts, and you know, I think that's cool. Here's all the accessories. Um Come on, dude. A fucking website is I hate websites that are hideously designed like this. Just how about make a website that actually is performant? Right now, it's probably doing the latest CSS scan. Um, yeah, frame pieces, all this stuff, batteries, shells, screws, very expensive motors that instead of $30 are $14.99 for a single fucking motor. You know, it's like a $2 motor. Um, Repair kits, you know, so I mean, they do at least sell shit for their product. This camera is going to be $39. I'll totally pick one up because I think it's pretty cool. Can't buy it right now. Um, okay, so yeah, so you start coding, it brings you to this thing. And I'm a Linuxy guy. I don't know what all this shit is. Android, I don't do any Android. Uh, iOS, I don't do any iOS. Thought they had the fucking repo tool. Yeah, download all the sources. So like step one is pretty much, this kind of makes a mess. So let's just do drone, right? And then repo, you just have to install repo, right? So getting Android source, it's not really like I said, I've never come across this tool. But the long and short of it is, if you go to all their shit that is on GitHub, it's a bit overwhelming because look at all the shit they have, right? This is their manifest. This is actually what that thing hits. And the only thing that's in here are like a bunch of other repos, and these are commit SHAs. So, you know, Like, oops. Yeah. So look, a GitHub, a bunch of different other things that are in GitHub. So really it's referencing all these things. And like, how do you even, at least when I read this the first time, I didn't really understand what the fuck they were asking me to do. So rather than just pulling down Git like you might be used to, you use this repo, and it's actually going to grab this XML out of that repo and do some magic. So there we go. Oh, come on. Don't be a dick. So it just prompts you for some stuff and some email that it rips out of your .git config, which is really dumb. One sec, I gotta let the cat in. Okay, yeah, so yeah, it it rips shit out of your .git config. And makes this little .repo file. So I don't know if this is like common for Android people. I don't fucking know. And then you just do repo sync. Okay, and now it's just downloading a shit ton of different GitHub repositories. Derp, derp, derp. And then there's, a few dependencies. You've got bash, core utils, package config. I mean, pretty typical stuff that you'll need. I ran into one thing that I didn't have, which I think was end curses or something. In fact, it's probably, yeah. So one that they didn't mention is just you need libn curses 5. So pretty much following their instructions, it just says to build. Aw, wait. Oh, no, that's right. They have weird. Man, it's about to be. Look at all these repos, man. Yeah. So we're gonna build the native package. You can also build the samples package, which for the Mambo, I don't think is gonna do us any good. So this could take a little while depending on your stuff. Yeah, depending on your things. But yeah, I don't know why these instructions didn't sink in. I guess because I'm not good with instructions, so hence that's why I'm making this video. And then of course just poking around. Drone. So we've already downloaded all this shit. It builds this out thing. There's tons of stuff in here. 200 megs worth of shit. And what did I do? I think I just grabbed for Mambo in here. And yeah. See, does not send last blah when blah USB accessory and blah, and then somewhere in here there was like a discovery thing. Commands, types, features. Piloting modes. Flight envelope. AR commands. Derp, derp, derp. Anyway, they've got some notes up in here. So reading through some of the source code might be fun. And then of course, my goal, I think, ultimately is to fly by keyboard, and I'll get video back either using their camera if it turns out I like it, or just using a normal, little teeny tiny drone camera. And I think it'll be a nice little rover. Maybe it'll live outdoors and just do, little recon missions, little breaks from work. God, I don't see the if donkey that I found earlier. Derp, derp, derp. Generator, feature, types, controller feature. Huh. My goodness, how many times they have to say the same thing there? Oh, AR discovery. Uh-huh. I think that is where except why didn't it show up on the list here? Meow. 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 What? No. Ah. Oh, so I must have grabbed from back here. Yeah. So that guy. Mambo. There we go. So we got that. That's what helped me find the FCC ID stuff. Where was? Oh yeah, that's right. So then I think everywhere else they were referring to it using its wherever that name came from. Right. This is a huge case statement. Blah blah blah. So that's the actual product. I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, I don't know how to use this yet. And it's been like many years since I fucked with any of this, so I'll probably have to find some examples too. Burp. Anyway, that's it for me, and that is my little drone talk. Why I bought that, and it remains to be seen if I'm just gonna order a whole nother drone. I don't want to go drone crazy. But I kind of want to fuck with that camera right now. So, and the Tello, I almost bought the Tello. I just don't think it was a good fit. At the end of the day, projects don't get done, and really, I think just being able to use this little controller without a fucking cell phone and mess around with a little drone or let kids fly it. I don't have to pull out a cell phone or, worry about. I mean, a cell phone doesn't even last that long, with the screen on. Like, I mean, who wants to have a whole OS in between them and their flying and fun time, I just couldn't do the Tello. But maybe their SDK isn't nearly as bad as it seems, and maybe the Tello would be a better machine for, what I want to do, which is just hack on it and fly by keyboard. I just haven't seen that evidence. Whereas I have messed with parrots in the past, and I have flown them with keyboards or USB things attached to computers. So, um, anyway, that's the route I'm taking. And while I'm not taking that route, this is a fun little flyer. And it's super fucking cheap right now on Amazon. So go pick one up. Oh. Also, yeah, the last if you want to build the samples, yeah, these are the we just built the native we just built the SDK, but you could do build sample or you could build a particular sample. So if you just want to do build all the samples, just give it that and build away. And I think the only thing they had was a bebop sample, which again is going to be IP based. You know, I don't really know. Like, I don't know if I have to get a BLE Bluetooth thing for, you know, my Raspberry Pi or whatever. They've of course got this jumping sumo sample, which obviously is left in there from a long time ago because I don't see that product on their page anymore. Maybe it is still there, but I saw weird shit like flower pots and HD fucking voice controlled Siri shit, and I don't know. Parrot seems a little confused. But I think they did good on this little drone. And if they keep you know doing stuff like this, I think you can learn a lot playing with these. I think it's a good excuse to get some programming done. It's a really good excuse to learn Linux or, you know, fuck around with these things. I'm sure you could easily also mess up the drone. That was my biggest fear messing with the AR drone is I had root on the thing, and I didn't really know how I was gonna replace that once I accidentally blew something away or like ruined a kernel module or like I don't really know how to recover from that. And this this drone, let's see, the file system showed up super weird. Let me actually show you that. Ugh, too many windows. All right, hang on. Okay, so so just plug the drone into my machine. Um, oh, memories. All right. There's something weird. Like I had a seg fault. So this guy, yeah. Derp, 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 derp. And then I thought it actually, yeah, SDC and then a SDD. So it's like it found two drives, but then only one of them. And I don't really know. I don't know what the fuck that means. File CD gadget. But pretty sure, yeah, this thing just mounted on its own. See, so if you hook this up to Windows, here's where you'd put the firmware. So you just copy it over. In here, there's this media directory. Here's a bunch of images. One of them looks like a butt. I think I've since decided that's my glasses maybe, but I'm gonna go with it's a butt. Floor, dirty floor, dirty floor. Don't know, don't know, don't know. So these are all taken with the little camera on the bottom, using the trigger on the this guy. I think it was this button, or yeah, I think it was this button. Every time I hit it, it must have taken an image. So thank God, like no dick pics slipped in there or something, you know. But still, I think that's pretty neat. You know, maybe you can go up real high and take an aerial. I don't know how high this thing will go. And then in here, there was a bunch of files, PUD files. I don't know what that means. They were all data files or empty. And when I ran strings just on one of them, I could pretty much just see, okay, like there's some version shit. There's some obviously JSON blobs, hardware version, which matched what I saw in the FCC, software version, which is current. So I don't need an update and whatever. I didn't see anything else interesting in here. I'm not really a hacker, so I don't really care. But one thing I did find kind of interesting is so this is SDC. There was also a SDD which didn't make it. It just showed up for like a second. Yeah. So that's another device. So if I unmount these, so I'm gonna unmount this dude and then run fdisk on it. Oops. SDC. So be careful with fdisk. So print is safe, but look at this, like 1.7 terabytes. Blah blah blah. Novell network. Like basically, I don't really know. I don't really know about this. I don't know about that. And then D, yeah, D was gone. So it's like D message saw it. It saw it, but then it was gone. I don't really know. Here's a 34 megabyte file system. So to be honest, like I don't really know what the fuck happened here, because oh, look at that. They got the product info in the USB description. That's, look at that. Right there. All your info. You can steal my serial number and deal with Parrot support. That's pretty thoughtful that they added all this shit just in the USB mass storage device description. And then, oh, okay. Oh, direct access. So, okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm out of my element here. Because I'm just used to like normal ass shit, but maybe they're emulating it and using direct access. So somebody smarter than me wrote something that was able to mount that just fine. Because I don't really know and have already forgotten. D-message. Let's just unplug it and plug it back in real quick. I'm just now I'm just being curious. All right. So that goes away. Nothing was mounted. And we put it back. Derp, derp, derp. Something got mounted. Yeah, so there's the disconnect. There we go. And what actually got mounted? SDC. Just straight up SDC. And it's 33 megs. And yet, when we looked at it with fdisk, we saw other partition information And none of this was 36 gigs. So yeah, I'm out of my element here. I guess here it's saying it's 33 megs, but yeah, I don't. This is weird partition information. I'd say something is afoot. It would be fun if somebody smarter than me could hack on that thing, or maybe I can download the firmware and maybe that'll tell something, or maybe somebody can explain to me what's going on here. Cause yeah, but anyway, if you hook this up to a Windows box, you can drop firmware right here, and it will likely update. And I think that's super cool. And if you have pictures, you can grab pictures. So I think that's super cool too. And again, I'm curious with the camera, you know, will you have access to the video that the camera has on the SD card through this mount point? Or will you access the camera separately over Wi-Fi? You know, how does the connectivity work? So yeah, there's plenty of stuff to discover with the little Mambo. All right, I'm really done now. Thanks for listening to me drone.